So remember, we finished the prologue. He's going to describe all 29 people, and he says, "And at a night, therefore, I will begin." So we are going to start with the night. This is nice and short, one page, boom, boom. Today we are going to read the night, the Squire, and then you by yourself are going to do the shortest one because I'm so cool. You're going to read the Yeoman. So up top, look what we're looking for. It says read and annotate the passage, looking specifically for information that helps you understand the character and the Middle Ages as a whole society, class, religion, gender norms. Also identify direct and indirect characterization used by Chaucer to describe the character. Me personally, I'm going to need 2 colors, okay? So I might actually use 3. For me, I'm going to use yellow for whatever notes I want to put, just because I'm going to have my own opinions. I'm going to do pink for direct characterization. And I'm going to use green for indirect characterization. So I'm going to show you guys how to do the knight, the squire, and then you are going to have to show me that you can do direct and indirect characterization and notes for the shortest one today, and his name is the Yeoman. Remember, direct characterization is directly telling a person nature, virtue, personality. Indirect is how somebody looks, acts, thinks, feels, what they say. So it's indirectly describing what somebody is like. There was a knight, a most distinguished man. Okay, if homie is a distinguished man, they are directly telling us this person's nature. He is a most distinguished man. Highlighting that. And I'm putting DC, direct characterization. Okay? Who from the day on which he first began to ride abroad had followed chivalry, truth, honor, generousness, and courtesy. Okay. Chivalry, truth, honor, generousness, and courtesy. Is this telling a person's nature, virtue, personality, directly saying it? Chivalry, generous, honor, truth? Or do you feel like this is explaining what he thinks and feels and says and looks like? Would you say that this is direct or indirect? Chivalry, truth, honor, generous, courtesy. Definitely direct, right? Just like this one, they're directly telling us the man follows chivalry and truth and honor and generousness and courtesy. They are very directly characterizing this guy. So this is definitely the vibe we would expect of the knight, right? So it seems on point so far for his characteristic. He had done nobly in his sovereign's war and ridden into battle no man more. Okay. He's ridden into battle no man more. This is how he acts. This is what he does. So for this one, that would be indirect characterization. He's ridden into battle no man more. So that's ID, indirect characterization. And for this, ooh, it's hard to see my color. This is green. I'm going to turn my light on. Oh my God, so sorry. Let's see. Is that better? Let's see what this look like. Okay, yeah, that looks a little better. Now it's green. He's ridden into battle no man more. If this was direct characterization, it would say that he is brave. But we have to look at this and say, oh, he's gone to battle more than anybody? Oh, he must be brave. We have to look at his behaviors, his actions, and then make the assumption that he's brave instead of them just directly saying, oh, he's truthful and honor and generous and courteous. This one, it describes what he does going into battle, and we have to make the assumption of what his character is because of it. He's gone in well as Christian and heathen places, and even honored for his noble graces. When we took Alexandria, he was there. He often sat at a table in the chair of honor, and sat above all nations when in Prussia. In Lithuania he had ridden, and Russia. No Christian man so often his rank. When in Granada and now Sirius sank under the assault, he had been there, and in North Africa raiding Benamarin, and in Anatolia he had been as well. Look at this. All these places, we're going to call this indirect characterization. It's telling us how far he's traveled. He's gone to Prussia and Russia and Lithuania and Granada and this place and that place and North Africa. He been there. Been in Anatolia. He been to, look at this, Mediterranean coast. Highlight all of those. He had embarked with many a noble host in 15 moral battles and another place. All of these, if you've been to war and traveling and fighting to all these places, that's indirect. They're telling us all these places he's been. And then if we were going to directly said that, we would have been like, dang, he's well traveled. That man is a fighter. He's a soldier. We would know based on how many places he's been, them indirectly explaining how well fought and well versed he is, that then we're like, oh, that man's a fighter for real. They could have just said he is a fighter, but they indirectly described it. He jousted thrice in the list and always killed his man. This is indirect. He always killed his man. Indirect characterization. And we would be like, dang, that means he's the best. We have to make this judgment and this assumption based on the description that they're indirectly giving us. The same distinguished knight had led the van once with the Bey of Ballot, doing work for him against another heathen and Turk. Again, look, giving us more places to highlight how he'd been all over. He was sovereign in value in all eyes. That sounds direct. They just straight up telling us he was sovereign value. So this one is direct characterization. And though so much distinguished, he was wise. What is he was wise? Is that direct or indirect? Are they directly telling us this man is smart? Or are they saying he studied a many a books and read and made potions? And then we go, oh, he must be smart. They are directly telling us he is wise and he is modest as a maid. He never yet a boorish thing had said. This one, it says he never says a boring thing. And what somebody says, he never says a boorish thing, that's under indirect. He never yet said a boorish thing in all his life to any. That one would be indirect. He never says anything boring, and we'd be like, oh, he must be cool if he never said anything boring. He must be cool. He must be a vibe. Come what might, he was a true and perfect gentle knight. Are they directly or indirectly describing him right here? He was a true and perfect gentle knight. That sounds pretty direct, right? They just directly telling us. I did these ones in the wrong colors. These were supposed to be pinks. He was a perfect gentle knight. Direct characterization. Speaking of his equipment, speaking of what he is wearing, right? And we know indirect is how somebody looks, what they're wearing. So we'll come down here. For these ones, we know it's going to be indirect because they're telling us what he's dressed in. For his equipment, he possessed fine horses, but he was not gaily dressed. He wore a fusion tunic, stained and dark with smudges where his armor had left a mark. He just got home from service. He'd been out fighting. He had joined our ranks to do his pilgrimage and render thanks. So right here, all this is Indirect characterization. Boom, boom, boom. We're like, dang, he got armor smudge marks? That must mean that he fights a lot. He gets down like that. Okay. Easy, easy. So now we're going to flip over. We're going to the next homie, the Squire. Same thing. We're looking for direct and indirect. This one is a little bit shorter, so I'm going to read this one. And then you guys, by yourself, with somebody you're sitting next to maybe, we'll do the Yeoman. The Squire. He had his son with him, a fine young squire. Oh, so the squire, right here, put a little arrow. The squire is the knight's son. This guy, Squire, is the knight's son. So the knight is a daddy. And he is a fine young squire. Let me put my highlight color so I don't forget. Green was my indirect or direct? Indirect. And my pink was my direct. And yellow was just notes. Okay? So a fine young squire. That is direct. Ain't no way around it. Fine young squire. Direct characterization. Telling us straight up. He is a lover, a cadet, and a lad of fire. Straight up, lover, cadet, lad of fire. No question. Directly telling us about this squire. With locks as curly as if they had been pressed. He was some 20 years of age, I guessed. They're describing what he looks like. Is describing what he looks like indirect or direct? Yes. Locks as curly as if they had been pressed. He was some 20 years of age. Let's keep going because I think there's more. In stature, he was a moderate length. So they describing what he looks like. He was wonderful agility and strength. Describing what he looks like. So all of this is indirect. He's describing his look. So he got some little curly hair. He's 20-ish, moderate length. He's like not short, but not tall. He's like a good height. Not short, not too tall. Just a good height. And he is strong and agile. So it's describing what he looks like. He had seen some service with the cavalry in Flanders and Artois and Picardy, and done valiantly in little space of time, in hope to win his lady's grace. Okay, so here they go some more. They're telling us what he's done. He's done some time, not as much as his daddy. He only been 3 places, right? So that's indirect. So he ain't a fighter like that, like his dad, but he could get down. He could get a little scrappy. He can fight a little something, even though he seemed kind of cutesy. And he had done valiantly in the space of time in hope to win his lady's grace. So it's saying he was doing this in hope to win a girl's heart. He was trying to find him a little boo, right? He wasn't going to the fights because he was a knight like his dad. He was doing this so hopefully some girl be like, ooh, he is such a man. I want to fall in love with him. So that's indirect, right? He was embroidered like a metal bright, talking about what he's wearing, and full of the freshest flowers, red and white. What he's wearing, embroidered meadow bright, flowers red and white, singing he was or fluting all of the day. Describing some more. He was as fresh as is the month of May. Then they switch it up, so all these ones are indirect. Telling us about his flowers, what he's wearing, that he's singing, that he's fluting. So the man, he's a little softer than his daddy. He gives like lover boy vibes, right? Got little flowers, plays the flute, likes music. And then they go on to say he was as fresh as the month of May. That's direct. Telling us directly that boy is fresh. Direct characterization. Short was his hair, his gown was wide. Here they go describing what he looks like and what he's wearing again. So is that direct or indirect? Indirect. Short was his gown, sleeves long and wide. He knew the way to sit a horse and ride. Here goes more descriptions of him. He can make songs and poems and recite. These are all indirect. It's not telling us directly his personality. Up here it did. Lover, cadet, lad of fire. Fresh as the month of May. But these are descriptions that we then have to make assumptions. He can make songs and poems and recite, but he can also ride a horse. So he's a lover boy. Again, that's still setting in that vibe. His dad, the knight, he gave no vibes of lover boy. Fight, 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 fight. Clothes all dusty from his armor. So the dad, he just a straight fighter. Then his son, yeah, he can ride a little horse. He been a couple little places, did a little fight, little light work. But really, flowers, music, more the lover boy vibe. But he can joust and dance and draw and write. Jousting is fighting. So here, they just further proven our point. He's like different than his dad. So he has more well-rounded skills because he can draw and write and dance, but he can also joust. So like, don't play with me because I'll fight you. But also like, I'm in touch with my hobbies and my more softer side. He loved so hotly that till dawn grew pale, he slept as little as a nightingale. Courteous he was. What is courteous? Is this direct or indirect? Directly telling us that he is courteous. So he got manners and he's polite. He was lowly and serviceable. Boom, boom, boom. Directly telling us he's a good guy. And carved to serve at the table. To serve his father at the table. And carved to serve his father at the table. That one's indirect. Oh, time to go. This one is indirect. He wants to make his dad proud. That's sweet. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. Your turn to do the Yeoman. I'm going to read it. While I'm reading it, you have to decide if things are indirect or direct. You can use two colors, or you can underline one in black and highlight one with a color. But next to it, after you make a mark of something, you have to write IN for indirect or D for direct. I'm just going to read. You make the marks. There was a yeoman with him at his side, no other servant, so he chose to ride. This yeoman wore a coat and a hood of green, and peacock-feathered arrows, bright and keen, and neatly sheathed, hung at his belt. The while, for he could dress his gear in yeoman style, his arrows never dropped, their feathers low, in his hand he bore a mighty bow. His head was like a nut, his face was brown. He knew the whole of woodcraft up and down. A saucy brace was on his arm to ward it from the bowstring, and shield and sword hung at the side, and at the other slipped a jaunty dirk, spear sharp and well equipped. A medal of St. Christopher he wore, of shining silver on his breast and bore a hunting horn well slung and burnished clean that dangled from a baldric of bright green. He was a proper forester, I guess. So you go back in. If you don't know what some of these words are, Google them. Come bother me. Come harass me. But let's try to find, how about 5 indirects and at least 1 direct characterization. There's your clue. Try to find those.